What's up, hackers? This is Otto from Photon. Really excited to be sponsoring this event. I'm an engineer myself and have been building in healthcare for about 8 years. Lots of cool stuff, prizes. Hopefully, folks are going to build some cool new hacks this weekend, rather. Look at all these awesome sponsors. Particular fan of this one, Photon. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what we do and just walk you through how to use our tool and how to build with Photon. So first and foremost, we are a prescription network. We build all the UI and tools associated with prescribing for physicians. And we are especially focused on making those technologies available to developers to build clinical workflows. So most of our customers range from folks who are just using Photon's application straight out of the box to folks who've embedded deep, complex prescribing workflows where Photon powers the prescribing element. We are also really big on allowing patients to decide where prescriptions go. So we've got a lot of out-of-the-box functionality where a patient can get a text that's secure. They can click that. They can select their own pharmacy. And then you can kind of see here in this UI, we've got a way for patients to kind of understand what's going on with their prescription. Internally, we call it the pizza tracker for prescriptions. But all of this is available in our demo environment. You can test things out pretty quickly. So without any more marketing spiel, I'm going to shift into the fun stuff, which is actually how you integrate with Photon. So I'll pull up our API docs, actually. You can head over to rx.dev. Everything you need to get started is there. First and foremost, you got to set up a sandbox environment. Shoot us a note in Slack. I will be around all weekend to set those up for folks. If you want to get one set up ahead of time, just to make sure you've got all the tooling and team invited, I'm happy to. For now, we need to invite folks manually. We haven't built out all like self-service sign up and onboarding pieces yet, but we can get folks set up pretty quickly. To integrate, we really see like a pretty straightforward pattern for folks to integrate, with each next step being optional. But you will see almost all of our customers are syncing patients with our platform. And actually, before I get into too many specifics, let me just give you a demo of like the out-of-the-box app, because most customers are just deep linking to our app. They sync a bunch of patient records, and they can actually just send a link over to our UI from some clinical UI they're building. So this is the simplest possible way to work with Photon. So let me just demo that workflow here. You can see I've got a bunch of patients in here. I'll select my co-founder, and there's a button in here called New Prescription, which will simulate that deep link. So you can see that a patient's pre-selected here. I can actually select a medication for him. Let's say he wants to take some Advil. You can see also that we've got like a treatment catalog pre-configured. There's an advanced search mechanism if you want to, kind of build out medications that are not in the catalog. You can go search and drill down by all different strengths and things like that. But you can see that this was just a pre-filled template. I can add this prescription. And in this case, I'm obviously simulating what a physician would do. And then there's two options. You can either save a prescription and not send it to a pharmacy, which would be a use case where you're doing a lot of automation on where a prescription's routed, or you can say save and create order. And then at this step, there is really about half of our doctors choose to just send a prescription to the patient and trigger that workflow where a patient gets a text and can choose their own pharmacy. But you can also, of course, go find a pharmacy for that patient. So you can see Rado's got a preferred pharmacy at CVS somewhere in Brooklyn. We also have mail order set up. Obviously, none of you are going to be fulfilling medications this weekend, but if anything you build over the weekend, you think you could monetize or whatever, we're happy to set you up with fulfillment partners. Would love to see some hacks from this weekend actually go on to become working products. So I'm going to go ahead and send this order here. Rado's going to get a text for real. He's not here, but if you set up patients that have phone numbers, that you can access, you can actually sort of simulate the patient-facing experience. So yeah, that's the tip-to-tail experience for Photon. Let me just kind of walk through quickly some developer-facing features in these portals. You can access API credentials in here. When I set up accounts for everyone this weekend, I will set up two forms of API credentials. One is a client-facing API so a front end token. This allows you to trigger an OAuth flow to verify a provider. Obviously, we have to do a lot to verify who is prescribing, so that's why there's a separate front end facing token. And then we can also set up back end tokens. Those back end tokens would be used to sync patients to and from our application. We actually allow customers to do everything in Photon with a back end token except for prescribing. So prescribing is the only thing that needs to be linked to a single user account. Any event that happens in Photon is connected to a webhook. So you can just say, send me all events, or you can say specific events, things like, prescription created or maybe order placed are the two events that most folks care about. In reality, if you're doing like true fulfillment, folks will care about order fulfillment updates. Like you'll get a shipping tracking code back. Right now, it's a little complex to simulate all these event state changes. We have a way to do that in the background. So if you need some support this weekend, I can actually like kick an event or kick a prescription through the full life cycle for you. So you can kind of test out like a patient-facing experience if you'd like. That's that. Templates and catalog are a quick thing to explain. A template is really just, a pre-filled quantity, day supply, and sig, which is the instructions. It'll also have a preset number of refills. We typically see customers set these up for the most commonly prescribed medications, especially if they're treating like a relatively condition-specific cohort of patients. So I think there's some pretty cool stuff here. You could actually set up templates and maybe do some AI-powered, decision support for providers, something like that. I think that'd be kind of neat. Lots you can do on the clinical workflow side. And then we also see folks just sort of set up treatment catalogs, where these are just commonly prescribed medications, but no associated instructions, etc. So that's that. I will show one more little Easter egg that's available for all the hackers out there. We have a playground where you can actually just log in. My credentials are already associated with this session, so I can go mess around and test out different APIs. So I can update patients or update orders, create prescriptions, cancel prescriptions, all sorts of fancy stuff. Some of this gets into the weeds of like how we maintain templates and things like that. But I think the most commonly used endpoints would be create order and create patient. And if you head over to our API docs, I lost them. You'll see we actually have some code samples to do this in Node.js. So this is an example to sync patients, and you can also write some code to place orders. A lot of our customers who have like mail order fulfillment contracts will actually automate the process of sending orders to a pharmacy. In terms of going back to the integration guide, I explained the first two steps, syncing patients and deep linking from your own clinical tool. I explained how webhooks work. Those are generally pretty quick to get set up. I'd recommend you just use like a paste bin or like one of the many other different like webhook testing tools. Ask a fellow hacker. Everyone will have their favorite. And then the really cool piece of Photon is that you can actually embed our workflows into your own clinical tool. So let's say you build a sweet, decision support tool powered by AI that a doctor can log into and collect, information from a patient, synchronously or not. You can actually then take all of that information and embed it into an experience where you can actually prescribe a medication here. So you can see I've got a patient pre-selected, and this is just a basic HTML page. And now I can still see the same exact prescribing UI I showed you before. Another really neat thing about this is you can see what it looks like under the hood. It's only just a few lines of HTML that you can embed in any clinical application. So it doesn't matter if you're using React or jQuery, who knows. You can go ahead and add Photon pretty quickly. We do have some sort of React specific bindings for this. Happy to hop on and explain how to do that, provide more sample code, but I presume many folks are building stuff in React. If you're building on the front end, we can show you how to do that. So the other thing I just showed you is that you can actually pass in a pre-selected template. So one idea for a hack that's a freebie is if you want to try to connect some kind of AI clinical decision support to a patient record or some type of form where a patient provides information about a condition, you could actually pre-populate certain treatments and then basically help doctors navigate treatment plan creation. That'd be a cool use for AI if you're trying to kind of mess around there. We have some customers who are starting to think about those types of features. So we get excited about AI too. That pretty much covers the majority of Photon. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I missed. Oh yeah, I'll show you our like reference APIs. So if you want access to medications, like as like a drug database, basically, we have a really sort of straightforward drug database where you can just build UI to search for medication. Feel free to kind of scrape it or export information. It should allow you to do some pretty advanced searches. We also have the ability to configure custom medications. So if you're working with maybe some kind of compounding, we can talk about that. I imagine that's not going to happen in a hackathon weekend, but there's a lot of functionality there around medications. And then we also have a full list of pharmacies. So you can actually do like a geolocation-based search for pharmacies. This is useful if you're building patient-facing UI to collect information. Same thing goes for allergens. Like a lot of clinical workflows that are patient-facing will allow you to report med history and allergies. These are both endpoints designed to allow you to quickly search those, and you can hit them from the front end. But yeah, that's Photon. We'll be around all weekend, and kind of as I mentioned, I'm an engineer by trade, but the story I wanted to share was that I got my start in code at a hackathon. I've always been kind of hacking around with websites and small projects as a kid, but in college I attended a hackathon and learned how to write iOS applications, and that sort of started me down the path of eventually studying computer science and graduating to go work into digital health now. So hopefully some folks learned something this weekend. If you need support to kind of talk around ideas or figure out what you can build with or without Photon, I'm happy to make myself available, especially asynchronously over Slack, and maybe we could hop on a quick call and I could walk you through some ideas. But first and foremost, I hope you learned something this weekend and build something cool. Cool. Thanks.